wasn't comfortable, was it, for Germany today? But 6 points now in 2 games. They're safely through.
Yeah, you see the manager celebrate, Nagelsmann. You see him celebrate what it meant to him. He was intense about the result. I think they fought back well. They had obviously a very good second half. They put their football plays together. Still not the sharpness that you would have imagined. Undav, obviously, with the 2 goals, was a great substitution. So that will make him very happy, too, that he's able to make that change on the bounce at halftime. But for me, I saw a game that Ivory Coast gave to Germany. That's the game I saw. I saw Ivory Coast that was very good. Compact, physical, defended well, created plenty chances to score. And then I would summarize the entire game with saying the last goal is what Germany has, is what Ivory Coast didn't have, the detail. He's onside by half a yard. He takes 1 touch out of his feet, bang, clean finish. Thank you very much. See you later. Ivory Coast, Adringa on the other side, that is a second-half substitution. The ball gets laid into him, takes an extra touch, goes away from him. Kessie had 2 moments where if he takes a cleaner touch, he's got another 2 goals. That game's to bet. So as much as you can do 99 of the 100 things you need to do good in a football match, you still have to have the detail. I think that's the beauty of the game. Like, technically, you still have to get that piece right. And Ivory Coast will look back at this and say, they'll go to their checklist and they'll say, yeah, we did that, we did that, we did that, we did that. And then the last one will be like, were we clean in front of box, in front of the goal? And that one, they have to be able to change.
It's so true, Nigel, because they're going to feel like they lost it today, which maybe hurts even more. They
got what they deserve. They got punched in the face. That's the reality of it. You talk at Grella, exactly what Grella explained is 100% right. For me, I look at Ivory Coast. Yes, we give them all the flowers, how great, how far they've come as a nation in what they're doing now. We want to talk about that next step. The next step is exactly that. Be more ruthless in front of goal. They had enough chances and good opportunities in today's game where they could have easily won this game by another 2 or 3 more goals. And it's the fine margins. The impact of Undav, we'll talk about probably a little bit more later on. And you talk about Adingra coming on. That there could have been 2-1, Ivory Coast, great historic win in the World Cup for them again against Germany. But for me, they got what they deserve. They got punched in the face because they're not taking themselves in that next level of that seriousness, that ruthlessness. You want to win something, you want to win tournaments, that ruthlessness is what counts. When it comes to games like this against good opposition, even though they're having an indifferent game, where Germany, for me, is still not convincing. They're not that nation that you could say is dominating games and that they presented so many opportunities to Ivory Coast. They didn't take it. And that's what happens when you play good nations. Even on an off day, they'll find a way to win, and they did it. Made attacking substitutes, and it's a striker who comes on and gets that goal again.
So true. Even though they won and they're through, are you convinced, Kei, or do you feel the same as Nigel with this Germany side?
Germany has to be happy going in after this game and saying, you know what? We still got 3 points. We still ended up winning the game because, yes, the performance wasn't really there overall. They didn't do it overall. But again, another thing is Undav. We're talking about striker, and he's like, okay, I'm that guy that you guys are looking for, but you don't see me. And he's put on the performances in the past, I don't know, 3-4 games, even before the tournament. So he's showing that. But for Ivory Coast, really, really difficult. If you play a game like this, almost a complete game. So just that little bit of detail that they were just missing. Yes, it's the finish. We want to talk about the chance that Adingra gets at the end, but we talk about the goal scorer, even Kessie. After his goal, he had 2 more good chances in the box. The touch wasn't clean enough to be there. So that's a little more detail that Ivory Coast needed, that Germany pays for, and that's what they get.
It's so true. Just by the way on that, if you are Deniz Undav and you're a striker, would you be thinking, I need to start in the next game? Has he done enough to be able to prove his case, or are you thinking, as a striker, okay, I understand my role here?
I think, personally, I think he's done enough. Personally, I think he's done enough. But when it comes to the coach and the manager is still looking at the team saying, this is my system of play, and I want to go back, not to go far, but go back to the other game with Boney coming into the team, and it's saying, I'm here, or Bromby, to say, is saying, I'm here. I'm the striker. I'm the striker that you need to distract everybody else that's going to be able to be there and score goals when you need goals. I might not be the link-up play guys that's doing everything else, but I give you that distraction and I occupy the centre-back so the team can do the team's game.
Yeah, the Undav one is an interesting situation because Nagelsmann said some unflattering things about him earlier on, that his wife actually made him have to go and, apologise to Undav. And now he finds himself obviously coming off the bench, and it's a preference thing that, for me, with Kai Havertz, it's a preference that what he likes. But Undav is what we've had a discussion. I said he's a natural striker. he is a proper striker compared to Kai Havertz. I don't want to take away anything from Kai Havertz and the form he's shown for Germany and also for Arsenal. He uses a lot of intelligence. But when you have a natural number 9, there's just something different. Being a player, playing in that midfield role, you know you've got a striker, you know there's certain habits. There's habits that's like muscle memory for number 9s that these two could probably add more to. You talk about set-up play, awareness around the edge of the box. There's a different sharpness to a natural number 9 to now the false 9, false 10 that we see in the modern game of football. The natural instincts of a traditional number 9 isn't still in there. You know, you could talk about Musiala, Kai Havertz, Florian Wirtz. They can score goals, they can create goals, but they don't have that naturalness that number 9s do that I've grown up and seen and played with in the box, just the awareness. Perfect examples like Harry Kane. He doesn't have to look at the goal. That's what number 9s have, that ability, not to look at the goal. They know where the goal is. They can have a quick look. They know where the goal and the goalkeeper is and use the technical ability of where to pass the ball, where to place it. And even look at Undav's goal today. Playing on the shoulder defender, opens up, no, straight away, bang. Left foot, great goal. So I think it's quite interesting.
And to add to that, Nigel, for me, being a striker, being a true number 9, it does hurt sometimes when I'm sitting on the bench and my team or my coach is saying, I want to play a false 9. But I'm seeing the game, saying, oh, we need a true number 9 in there to occupy that defense and be able to be there if there's a cross, there's something that comes in.
You can see runs.
I can see those things.
That's natural to you for where the ball is compared to that false 9 who's just still playing in that pocket.
So I see him seeing those things. Again, it's good for him. It's good for Undav to come off the bench or to be on the field, to be able to have that impact for the team over and over, to show that, hey, I'm challenging your system. I don't want to change your system, but I'm challenging it to put myself as a piece to that puzzle to help this team go, farther than just round of 32.
We talked about how far we think they're going to go. This is the first time that they're through, obviously, Grell, since 2014, since they won it all. What is your expectation? Do you think, we were talking at half-time, semi-final, you said, after seeing today's performance, you still believe that?
Yeah, I think they're good enough to go to the semi-final. But like I said before, I think Germans will say that they want to go and win it. I don't think they'll show up ever in their history, and I think not in the future and not in the past, that they show up to a World Cup and say, oh, yeah, maybe we'll get to a semi, or maybe they go to win the tournament 100%. I know that for a fact. I want to just go back to the performance again from Germany, right? They were very good today. I don't want to take anything away from them. They were very good today. They fought back against the Ivory Coast team that was difficult to play against. They were good. Ivory Coast was better. But Germany got the details right and Ivory Coast didn't, right? So if Ivory Coast got the detail right, then they win the game. So I thought that Germany ends up going on to win the game, and they were good and good enough to win the game. But for me, Ivory Coast, they gave it away. Now, how far can Germany go? I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how the round of 32 goes, the round of 16. They showed a lot of resilience in this game because I think physically they were outmatched. I think tactically the coach got it right for Ivory Coast as well. I thought they found huge spells of the game where they struggled, and they still found a way to go and win. You saw what it meant to the manager as well. And to the conversation about the two strikers, Undav and Havertz. That's like a manager's dream, by the way. Now he's got two guys where he's got it. The manager wants a headache. The manager wants to sit there tonight and go, who should I play with? How should, like Kai said, challenge the system, challenge the decision-making. So now he's got two guys that are firing. You know how many teams have 4 strikers, 5 strikers, that none of them work? That's a problem. Now he's got 2 that are scoring goals and they can change. And also, I don't know if Undav is a true number 9, but he got his 2 goals today.
What did you make of Germany this afternoon then? I suppose, how would you rate them if you had to give me a number 1 through 10, 10 being the best?
Well, all of a sudden, this game got really entertaining. And that's what we love about football, when it has a very entertaining turn. Because we thought, okay, we may lose to Ivory Coast, then a draw, and at the end, we turn it around into a win. So that's what people love. And I was at a public viewing event, and people freaked out because it reminded them of 20 years ago when we started into the World Cup 2006 with 2 wins, and now everything is possible. But overall, I think that the performance and the structure of the team is not right. But winning is winning, and so you don't have a lot of arguments to complain about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so we had a discussion in the studio here where we talk about the expectations of Germany back home, what the fans and the people in Germany feel realistically this national team should achieve. I said, for me, Germany fans will be happy with a quarterfinals. What's your answer to that question?
I got the same opinion because the quarterfinal would be a success. Semi-final would be a fantastic achievement. I don't think that we actually will have something to do with the World Cup winning it with the final, because as you could see tonight, we're lacking some quality of very, very crucial positions. I always kept complaining about the right back, and this time we got punished because of the right back. Joshua Kimmich is a fantastic player in midfield, but he's not a right back. And all of a sudden he had to play left back. And then we have two wingers with Sané and Wirtz. All of a sudden, they always turned in. But Nagelsmann did some good changes, brought on some pace on the flanks, and got Undav in. And all of a sudden, Undav turned himself into our hero for tonight. And that's always a great story, which we would like to entertain.
Jens, just to be clear, because we were having this argument earlier, we looked at the team, we've watched Germany now, we actually, listened to what you said pre-match as well. We also think the same thing, that quarterfinal, semifinal would be a success. That's from an analyst perspective, from a, ex-footballer perspective. But Germany, like the public, the media, the German people, no chance, right, that they go to the World Cup and say, oh, a quarterfinal is successful, right? That's the realistic view from, maybe from analysts, but the German public expect to go and win it, right?
The German public, since the World Cup 2006, always likes to be in the semi-final, because that means that we have entertainment and public viewings and barbecue parties right to the end of the tournament. And we don't expect us becoming world champion, because most of the public is kind of realistic. And what you saw tonight is that we're kind of away from becoming world champions, because there are some problems we're facing. And normally against Ivory Coast, you shouldn't play a game like we've seen, because Ivory Coast could have won as well, because they had a great chance at the end of the game, where I don't know who it was, but where he took 2 touches instead of converting it on the first touch. And so we were a bit lucky.
Jens, so then how is it possible? Because the American public also thinks a semifinal would be a realistic possibility for the U.S., and the U.S. has never won a World Cup.
Well, optimism is always something which has to be there in such a tournament, because people want to be optimistic. And in Germany particularly, we need optimism, because right now we're doing not well as a country. And I remember 20 years ago, it was like a kickoff to have success, economical success, political success. The world perceived us as being a different country. And so we expect a little bit from that current team to give us that boost we had 20 years ago as well.
Yeah, so I've got to apologise for my American friend. He doesn't have many German friends to understand German people and
he
culture.
Always likes to be right as well.
And he's going to try and put words in your mouth. That's what he does best. But carry on, Kai.
Yeah. Well, compared to America, we're a small country, We don't have that many opportunities.
But you do have the history in football, so that's where that was leading to. But I'm going to ask questions about the striker position again. Undav is asking that question now himself. Is he the guy? Is he the striker that Germany's been looking for?
Well, at least he was for tonight. But if if you play quality teams, and all of a sudden you're ending up with a player, or you have to rely on a player like Undav, who's not used to play quality teams, because he only had 6 Champions League appearances where they haven't done really well. And that's always something where you can probably be less optimistic, because when you play France, Spain, or whatsoever, you cannot realistically expect Undav performing on that level like he did tonight.
Yeah, because I'm sure we're looking at him, not the typical number 9, very tall physique, like you talk about Harry Kane earlier, being that guy in the box that gets the ball and is going to dominate some center backs in those places. But to me, I see him, I don't want to compare him to Michael Owen, but being at the physique that he is, he's given that question now to the German crowd and all you guys and the ex-players and the coaches to say, we can look at this as a different type of number 9 that we can create without having to be the same one like the Kloses that you guys have seen before.
If you compare these 2 players, then with Undav, it's a different story, because he's not super quick. Michael Owen was super quick. and he could create chances himself. Undav can't. He's completely reliable on his teammates and good passes, good deliveries. And then he's good because he can convert first touch, he can convert with 2 touches like he's done tonight. But tonight you have to praise him because he helped Germany out of a very difficult situation, and he converted 2 good passes, 1 cross, 1 good pass, into 2 goals. So he deserves to be a hero tonight. But against like France or Argentina or Spain, it's a different story.
Jens, I must say you're an absolute breath of fresh air. And next time I'm in Munich, we're going to have some bratwurst and some Schenken together. Next time I come to Munich.
And some beer.
Yes, and some beer, exactly.
Yes.
I think you're going to make my friend Grella have some beer tonight as well.
Oh, Jens, thank you so much for joining us.
Enjoy your time then.